Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Ron McKenzie-Lefurgey. So, the conferences have now finished at E3 2018, and overall, gamers are feeling pretty medium about it. There were some great reveals, but a lot of presentations left a bit to be desired. However, there were two companies who many believe to have dropped the ball. That is to say, they failed pretty hard. So let's go over the companies that many believe to have lost at E3. If you enjoy this video, let us know by throwing us a thumbs up down below, and if you want more, check out our video on the awkward E3 moments. But before you do that, get ready, it's time for the biggest losers at E3 2018. Let's start off with EA. EA has taken a lot of flack in the last year, most of which was directed at their terrible mishandling of Star Wars Battlefront 2. They tried to squeeze money from gamers, it didn't work, and people are super frosty towards them now. But this was their chance to win everyone back. It was their chance, and they announced a new Command & Conquer game. Hurrah! Finally, EA is ready to return to the front lines. They've decided to listen to fans and make the game they want. Just kidding, it's a mobile game and everyone hates them even more now. Now I will say that the EA conference overall wasn't as bad as some would say. The way internet memes would tell it, EA just pulled their pants down and pooed all over the stage, but it wasn't that bad. If you compare it to the others, it was mediocre, but not quite the demon spawn the internet made it out to be. They did hint at a new Star Wars game that might let them win back Star Wars fans, and to be fair, they did apologize for Battlefront 2. They also had Sea of Solitude, a cool looking indie game. The problem is hopes aren't too high because most fans are assuming EA will just put all their money into their money makers and will leave the indie ones in the dust. And of course, Anthem looks like it'll be pretty good, and Battlefield Battle Royale will probably be decent. But a combination of people already hating the company and them being a pretty lame start to E3 led to a bunch of hate and a big loss for EA. More generally, EA didn't really change anything in their usual sports games, which has some fans a little sore that they're just pumping out more easy money games. They kind of glossed over their really cool indie game in favor of highlighting the stupid mobile Command & Conquer, and a lot of people just felt that the whole thing was way more dull and corporate than it should have been. So yeah, EA wasn't the worst, the presentation had its good points, but it didn't make up for the rest of the conference. Especially that so-called Command & Conquer, which is not Command & Conquer, which they spent 10 freaking minutes on, because it will be a cash cow. Next we have Square Enix, which I recently learned how to pronounce properly. At this E3, EA was like the villain that the hero was fighting against throughout the game, but Square Enix was the boss that steps out from the shadows in the end to show that they were in fact the true villain. Interestingly, even though their presentation was arguably worse than EA's, they haven't seen nearly as much hate online. Of course, like pretty much all the companies, the Square Enix conference wasn't without its good qualities. Both Captain Spirit and The Quiet Man look pretty interesting, Dragon Quest XI will be great, and of course everyone is psyched for Kingdom Hearts 3. But there just wasn't anything exciting. In terms of what was shown in the presentation, there were a few complaints. For one, they didn't really give much commentary or anything to show what we were watching. They just kind of played the clips through, which would have been fine, except the clips themselves were short and a bit confusing at times. People are also saying Tomb Raider is looking bad, but I gotta be honest, I don't really get that complaint. I thought it looked pretty great, but then again, I'm not exactly picky when it comes to graphics. However, a lot of the complaints regarding Square Enix weren't about what they showed, but rather what they didn't show. There were two big announcements that people were waiting for that didn't end up happening, and they hurt. The first is some sort of Final Fantasy game. Fans weren't sure what it would be, whether it would be a remaster of the classic Final Fantasy VII or a new installment in the franchise, but everyone was pretty sure we'd be getting something. And then we didn't. And it was lame. But the second thing that made me personally fly into a rage was the lack of the Avengers project. And if you haven't heard of it, it's exactly what it sounds like. Marvel announced last year that they had signed a multi-year, multi-game deal with Square Enix, hoping to make a series of games based on Marvel superheroes. Amazing! It's believed to be set in a time when the Avengers have fallen apart, with a new storyline overarching across the games, and will involve a bunch of popular Avengers members. And it was about damn time! Spider-Man's great, but I want more. We have the technology, we can build it. We even got a trailer in January 2017, which seemed to make it a safe assumption that we'd see more at E3 2018, but nope, nothing, nada, zilch. Apparently they just don't like money. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please smack that thumbs up button and subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for more videos. Of course, this is nothing personal towards the companies. I'm sure they did their best, and it was obviously a difficult decision to leave out what they did, but at the end of the day, they disappointed fans in a pretty avoidable way. And that's no fun. Until next time, I'm Ron McKenzie-Lefurgey with Top 10 Gaming. Later, gamers.